And as they walked down the street, the gust of wind was blowing heavily, and there, as they looked up, a pair of bloomers were dancing on the clothesline as the wind was filling up the legs. And with one accord, the two young men took off their top hats and tipped very politely as they passed. I always had a lovely picture in my mind of those two young blades showing their respect for the female outline.
My laundry problem started many, many years ago, I guess when I first got married. And my husband, who was an electrician at that time, insisted upon wearing white duck pants to work every day. Oh yes, they were washed by hand. There was no other way. I would work from 7 to 7, from 7 at night to 7 in the morning. But I had the kind of a husband that didn't help. In the morning, he couldn't leave the baby to come pick me up, so I'd have to take the buses home. And I'd come home and he'd still be sleeping in bed. I think I began to hate him then. Anything. He just didn't... I was young. I was ambitious. I really thought nothing and nobody could get me down. I did it for years. And I look around me now and see young women doing it. I think, how could I have thought I was so modern and be so stupid? Really. To do it, and to do it with such an attitude like I had to do it, like there was just no other way. It's so many years ago. You know, I could still weep over it.
When I was married, there was something about doing my man's clothes that was appealing to me. Perhaps it's a status thing about going to the laundromat and pulling men's socks and men's shirts out of the laundry. This thing about people seeing that you're connected, that you've got that connection, that you have the man, you know, that you have your man. As a single woman, I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever.
But I can remember as a child very good sensual memories. I can remember walking in between the lines and the sheets blowing in the sun, and those were good feelings. The idea of clean sheets, I don't think there's anything nicer than clean sheets that have come in from being out in the sun. And it is energy.
And then God forbid when the line broke. Oh, when the line broke, you know, like everybody would come out in the yard. What are we gonna do? Well, he comes from Italy, my father. He went out and I think he cut off a telephone pole somewhere and put it in the yard. You need a bolt? I'll be right back. I remember. My mother wouldn't let him touch the laundry. He wasn't allowed. The only time he was allowed to touch the laundry is if she was out and it rained. He would pull in the clothes and lay them on the bed, and that was it. That's all he was allowed to do.
But more than anything, it was the wash. My mother and the wash. How could I ever calculate the depth of peace and security? This ritual of weekly cleansing had accumulated in me. A peace and security that the subsequent years had shattered beyond all redemption.
I don't think I could ever go through that again. Never. The laundry will never mean that much to me again in my whole life. Never. But my father and my mother had wanted to do the laundry when I started working. But I wouldn't let them. I wouldn't let them. I figured I had to conquer this thing myself. You know, there's ways women do it, and I have to just find it. I wouldn't let them do it. She see me struggling, carrying big bags. Where you going now? Where could I be going with a big bag of laundry? You know, where could I be going? It was one of the biggest things I had to accomplish working and going to school.
I hated laundry with a passion you cannot imagine. It was the bone in my throat. It was the one thing I never could get rid of. Every day there was a new pile. But I hated laundry because I never finished. It was forever and a day, every single day. And the worst burden that I could ever remember. Period.
I will hang your hands out to dry. You call the kitten, and you shall have no pie.
First of all, there was a particular art about hanging your clothes on the line. And everybody had clotheslines, and you looked at your neighbor's clothes. You really did. And you sort of measured her that way.
When I look at other women's clotheslines, I want to know more about them.
If he had a spot on his shirt, you were rotten. If your child had a spot, believe me, you were the world's worst.
Sometimes they even hang them by color. It fascinates me, all the white shirts. Or all the socks, all the white socks, you know, all the navy blue socks. I think that it evokes the ghosts of the people that wore them.
Hon, is my shirt ready?
They're like pieces of sculpture. Women who don't consider themselves artistic put a great deal of themselves into their household tasks. It was my mother. I mean, I never really appreciated all the work that she did.
I used to hang them nice. You know, I used to put them out in colors. I used to play games, you know, make the line look good, because I knew them people were looking at my laundry. I knew it. No, no,
When she would say, come and look. She's fooling around with somebody. Look, she's got those fancy underwear. She's not buying them for her husband. She's married 10 years. That means she's fooling around. You can't tell me she don't have a boyfriend. I look, she has black bras on the line and black underwear. She didn't buy them for my son. She's fooling around with somebody. And that's how you could always tell. They're wearing fancy underwear. They're fooling around.
I remember hearing she hung out some junk. You know.
I've always felt that the roof was my special spot. But there's something about hanging the clothes on the roof that's, I don't know, it's not really like work. It's a pleasure. light in the air, and you're not in a dirty house, and there's something very liberating about it. And it's a chance to go up on the roof and, you know, hang out and look at the skylight and the pigeons and everything. With the wind blowing and see the ships passing and the airplanes going by and the rest of the world. It was a kind of a rebirth, a new beginning, the clothes being clean, a fresh start. It was sort of like when I gave birth, I felt like I was connected to all other women. And when I hang up the clothes, I feel connected to all other women. It's something that we have in common, that we share together.
I mean, if you think about what the courtyard looked like, with all these lines crisscrossing, that line, that connection.
My mother fights with the people upstairs, because when she washes her clothes and hangs them out, and they hang theirs, their water drips on her clothes. She would tell them, well, wait till I pull mine in, because your water was dripping on my clothes. And then the landlord would fight because the water was dripping in the yard, and it would ruin the cement.
I had friends out there. I could tell who was hanging their clothes by the squeak of their line. There was Peggy, Carmen, but really, I knew them all by the squeak of their line. I didn't see them. And I used to yell, hey, Peggy, how you doing? All right, you know, doing the laundry.
And then we would start talking. And then you get Mrs. Murphy down the corner. You know, you're on the roof and you're talking to everybody. And I like it.
Oh, what a beautiful day to hang clothes. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's watch our great. Let's watch the sheets, you know.
If it was windy, my mother would say, hang the clothes out right away, because they're going to dry fast today, because it's windy and it's a little cool out. And they did. They would dry. T-shirt.
On a good day with the sun out. Oh, everything. Wash everything. What a beautiful day, you know.
Yeah. Hang them out today. It's windy. They'll dry right away. And it's
true. Wash them, put them on the line. Put them right back. That was pleasure. Pleasure. On a beautiful day, fresh air, and it seems to permeate. They dry good. You know, they dry extra good.
The women would all hang out the windows and spread the news of the neighborhood to each other.
Oh, she would come and she would run out.
Who died, who got married, whose kid fell down. The news, the essential news of the neighborhood was not transmitted by the men, but by the women.
I didn't indulge. I really didn't have time. I really didn't have time for any nonsense like that. And I was an extremely busy woman, and I liked to do other things, and I loved to read. I didn't have a happy married life, and that sort of kept me from gossip. When you have problems, you sort of keep a little bit to yourself. That may have been part of it. Those were the days when I used to iron my husband's socks. Now, if anybody could go any further than that, I really don't know in which direction.
I iron on the floor laying down. They can't get over this. How could you iron laying down? Very good, I iron.
You about Texas? Nothing. Wait a minute.
She was really a perfectionist, didn't have an outlet for the perfectionism. But it seemed to take form in the way she did clothes. And there was a very strict ritual for the way in which the clothes were then to be folded and put away and put aside. And they were done beautifully, with a skill and a craft and a kind of a mastery that she did not enjoy. I think it's important to realize she did not enjoy it. It was sort of like an art, the way she did it. And I very much miss the smell of those clothes and the stiffness of the sheets. And I can listen to her still in my head telling me how I should fold clothes and why I didn't fold them well enough. But the memory and the missing of the quality is still very strong.
Yeah, it was a routine. You knew it was done. You know, everything is done for you.
It is a sense of security because that's living. The linen closets were really a showplace. I had a linen closet. When you opened the door, it was an amazing thing. But I kept extra linens tied up with satin ribbons in the closet. I did. I want you to know, I had some very high standards. This you took pride in. I did. I mean, if I had to go through all that trouble about ironing and washing, which I hated, I might as well get some pleasure out of looking at it. So I did. When I walked into a friend's bathroom, I always snuck a look in the linen closet. And I know doggone well that everybody looked in mine because they told me. They'd say, oh, I was looking for something, and I opened your closet, and oh, Paula, I never saw anybody's closet look like yours. I used to love to have company because I knew everybody looked in the closet. And it was just one of those things, you know.
The first time I hung them out, I did it wrong. My mother came up, she went crazy. She said, how could you do that? I had like a towel, and then I had a pair of pants. She said, you can't hang the clothes like that. Pull them all in. She pulled everything in. She said, now put all the towels, and there's a certain way. So your towel's got to fall like with a loop in the middle. If they don't have the loop, they're no good. You just can't throw them over the line. Everything was hung out perfect. Then she said, at the end, you hang the underwear and the socks. And everything was just perfect. So I got to like it, and I used to tell my aunt, I'll hang them out. And I love it. And I really love hanging clothes.
And sometimes she'd just sit there for hours, staring out the window at what she had done.
And I hang my clothes out at night, and I used to have to oil the wheel because I didn't want people to know that I was hanging my clothes out at 2 o'clock in the morning, because that's the only time I have to do it. Then there was a thing with lace curtains that I remember that was so complicated. She had lace curtains, you know, the lace curtain Irish, and they had to be stretched onto these enormous frames, you know, with little nails all the way along. But it took hours and hours and hours to do that. And you had to put sugar on them so that they would be stiff. Some women use starch, but a lot of women use sugar. But what I did with mine, I got stains on mine. So instead of doing them with the sugar and the water, I used coffee or tea, and I stained them all brown. So I didn't have to wash them. I still have them. I've never washed them yet. I just keep dipping them in tea. She would die if she knew that, after all the work she went through to make them.
I said, Ma, I joined the college. I'm going back to school. She said, did you do your laundry today? She said, oh, who cares about college? You know, you got to worry about your laundry. That's how they are with the laundry.
Every day. Every day. She has the washboard and everything. I don't know how she does it. I mean, it's like people have coffee every morning. She has to do the laundry every morning.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable.
The laundry is like a confession, you know. If they seen your drapes on the line, boy, they knew you were into cleaning your house.
She loved it. She used to call up, bring the laundry.
As long as they came white, it was all right. That was the most important thing, that they had to be white. Otherwise, we couldn't hang them out on the line, and people would read your fortune by your clothesline. I was hanging clothes while I was working and going to school, but in anger. Like I was stabbing the clothespins on the line, really stabbing them. And my mother used to say, but ain't you ashamed to hang them out like that? I said, ashamed? I gotta be ashamed?
My mother was the only person who did the laundry, and I remember the lady who owned the house didn't want her husband to come home and see diapers hanging on the line, and he thought that there was something wrong about that. It could go up before 9 o'clock in the morning because her husband was leaving for work, and it had to come down before 4 in the afternoon because he was coming home from work. So my mother found another girlfriend down the street. She used to go down there with the car and the clothes and hang up the clothes at another girl's house because she couldn't be bothered.
My mother had to wash her clothes. She still does in the morning at 6 o'clock, so they would be dry by the afternoon, because the Italian people used to say, if you left the clothes out once it got dark, they were no good because the devil would get in there. All the evil spirits would get in there. So they had to be pulled in before it got dark at night.
If you have a washing machine, you think the work is going to be easier. But what happens is you do more wash. You do it more often, and you do more of it. But as soon as I got a washing machine, man, that was crazy. I was washing all the time. I mean, I was washing every day. I was changing the kids' clothes like 3 times a day.
And then he'd come home and say, what'd you do all day? You could have a stroke. You could really have a stroke. I used to think to myself, how stupid can you be? I mean, you're not deaf, dumb, and blind. He was home for breakfast. He came home every day for lunch. I was home every day for dinner. And how could you say, what do I do all day? So I finally got up the courage to tell him that I had gone to see this diaper service and I was going to have the diaper service. Well, he hit the ceiling. He raised hell. How lazy can you get? You don't want to do your own baby's diapers. I never heard of such a thing. He said, I never heard the kid will get rashes. You're going to subject your baby because you're too damn lazy to do diapers. But I said, until the baby gets a rash, I'm going to have the diaper service, and you could stand on your head. I just don't give a damn. So I had the diaper service. And the baby never got a rash. And that was my one big indulgence. And I loved it.
Well, my mother was a real rebellious personality, and my grandmother would come over occasionally and throw up her arms in despair at the way my mother kept her house. But my mother did other things, which I think were more important. My mother used to say, when she'd be dragging me off to the woods to look at nature, that those things in the house are dead things. They'll always be there. She was more concerned with the living, and I'm grateful to her for that.
The memory I have that relates to my mother is of sitting on her couch in her living room about 7 years ago, talking about a dream she had. This dream, laundry blowing in the wind, was a recurring dream. The most recent time she remembered having it related to premonition of death of someone who was close to her. And she remembered she had been doing laundry when her mother died, when she received news that her mother died. I guess 18 years after that, she'd probably been dreaming about laundry.
It was an awful thing, you know, and none of us ever helped her with it. I don't know why. The laundry was like hers. It belonged to her. But the laundry was like hers. It belonged to her.
It's everyday living, and you're part of it. It isn't the only thing in life, but to me, it's part of it. And if you let it go for a couple of days, you were finished. It was just one of the trials and tribulations of married life, and that's the way it was.
I always think of my mother when I'm hanging up the clothes. When I'm putting the clothes in the dryer, I don't think of my mother.
And the pleasure I take from these sun-dried clothes is more than I can describe. I feel some satisfaction of existence that strikes so deep a note in me that it's almost as though I'm not performing these actions for the first time. Why do I have this feeling? What is its origin?
It's like the soap operas, you know. There's always tomorrow. No matter how dirty everything gets, there's always a fresh beginning, which is a spiritual feeling with laundry. I don't think you get it with any other household task.
It's just something that we got to do. It's our job to do it, and that's it. There's nobody else to do it.
It's so many years ago. you know, I could still weep over it.